For 40 years, the United States, Israel, and Iran fought an unwritten shadow war. That arrangement ended during the holy month of Ramadan, when the skies over the Middle East exploded into direct conflict. U.S. and Israeli forces launched a massive air campaign, deploying stealth bombers and aircraft carriers to dismantle Iranian military targets and nuclear sites. Hours before the first missiles launched, diplomats in Geneva believed they were close to a breakthrough. Instead, the Omani-mediated talks served as a decoy, providing cover while American carrier strike groups moved into position. This transition from a 40-year shadow war to a direct air campaign has stripped away the unwritten rules of the region, creating a theater of engagement where conventional strength faces a new kind of math. To understand why Iran avoids traditional combat today, we have to look back to 1953. That year, the CIA orchestrated a coup against Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh and overthrew his democratic government to protect Western oil interests. The United States then supported the Shah, a monarch who ruled for 25 years. But in 1979, the Islamic Revolution ousted the Shah and brought Ayatollah Khomeini to power, realigning the state against American influence. The new regime realized it lacked the industrial base and technology to survive a direct conventional war with a global superpower. This map shows their solution. Instead of building a massive traditional army, Tehran funded and trained a network of militias across Lebanon, Gaza, and Yemen, creating what they call a ring of fire. By arming proxy forces like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, Iran can project power and bleed its adversaries in regional conflicts without risking a conventional invasion of its own borders. On the modern battlefield, this strategy forces opposing militaries into a severe economic mismatch. This chart illustrates the cost of a traditional defense. The U.S. and Israel rely on multi-million-dollar interceptor missiles to defend their airspace. Iran counters this by launching swarms of domestically produced drones that cost only a few $1,000s to manufacture. Tehran's strategy centers on exhausting Western political will by draining the defense budget, forcing adversaries to spend millions to shoot down cheap metal and plastic. To counter this, the U.S. and Israel must strike the source. That requires hitting targets like this nuclear facility buried beneath a mountain, which demands incredibly expensive specialized munitions. In a landscape where it costs $1 million to stop a $1,000 weapon, traditional military superiority becomes a financial burden. There was a period where diplomacy seemed to work. The 2015 nuclear deal temporarily paused the escalation, placing limits on Iranian uranium enrichment in exchange for lifting international sanctions. That agreement ended when the Trump administration withdrew from the deal and initiated a maximum pressure campaign targeting the Iranian economy with new sanctions. Tensions further escalated with the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, the architect of the proxy network. His death erased the remaining foundations for dialogue. The collapse of diplomatic trust has removed the primary off-ramps for both sides. They are now left using ballistic missiles and drone strikes to communicate their red lines and project strength. Ultimately, Iran's greatest strategic advantage does not rely on the strength of its air force, but rather on its undeniable geographic leverage. This map shows the Strait of Hormuz. Every day, 21 million barrels of oil, about 35% of seaborne petroleum, passes through this gap. Even the threat of a blockade causes spiking insurance rates, creating immediate ripples through the world economy. Meanwhile, Tehran maintains an economic lifeline through a shadow fleet of tankers. This network allows them to sell oil to nations like China despite international sanctions, providing the funds necessary to sustain their military operations. A $1,000 drone and a narrow waterway can paralyze multi-million-dollar defense grids, holding the global economy hostage. In this tactical environment, geographic leverage and long-term endurance often outweigh raw military scale.